This video is part of a series helping you to revise for your upcoming GCSE chemistry exams. Today we're looking at how to build an effective revision timetable for the 2023 GCSE exams. If you look in the description below, then you'll find a link to the timetable that I'm using in this video. If you're taking your GCSE exams in 2023, then this is probably your first time writing a revision timetable. You may have had formal exams at the end of year 10 and you may have already had a set of mock exams in year 11, but even if you have, chances are that you still had regular home learning tasks to do alongside those, and you almost certainly didn't have any study leave. It's also probably true that you didn't take those mock exams as seriously as you're going to take the formal exams in the summer. My tutor group this year are year 11s, and I know that's certainly true for them. So that means you may have missed out on opportunities to see what really works for you from a revision point of view. Now, when most people think of a revision timetable, they think of something like this. So it's often hour-long slots, and you've probably just named a subject or maybe a big topic within that subject. You haven't really said what you're going to do, and you just kind of rock up and try to do something useful for an hour until it's time for the next thing. Now, this kind of timetable works really well when you have complete control of your own time. So maybe when you get to May or June and your school gives you a bit of study leave and you've got a whole day at home, then a timetable like this can work really well. But right now, I just think it's more hassle than it's worth because you don't have complete control over your time. And so maybe you've planned to do some cell biology revision, but then your teacher gives you some photosynthesis exam questions and you haven't got time to do both of them. And then there's a different day where you missed the bus and you're late home, and so that time went out the window. And then maybe there's been an opportunity like an online seminar or something that you wanted to do instead of being able to do the revision you'd planned for. And also, you know, we're still 5 months away from the exams, so you still should be doing all your hobbies and things, and maybe you've got an extra rehearsal or a match or some training, and suddenly you'd plan to do stuff and then you don't have that time anymore. Now, not everyone is like me, but for me personally, when I have a plan and then I start to deviate from that plan, I just end up feeling like the whole thing's ruined and there's no point in it, and it can make me feel really anxious and overwhelmed. So I don't think this type of revision timetable is great, but what is the alternative? Well, for the last few years, I recommended plans like these, and I've made these timetables for my classes, and there's a link in the description below to my one for chemistry. So the idea behind this plan is that there isn't really a plan. It's not about saying I'm going to do this topic or this subject on this day. It's about making sure that you're revising effectively and you're spreading your effort over the whole subject and making sure that you don't just miss something out completely. You can see that I've put a variety of different revision strategies along the top here, and it may be that there's something else that you prefer to do, like making mind maps or making posters. But however you prefer to revise, I would really strongly recommend that you do spend some time looking at the exam board specification and making notes, because that specification gives you the exact wording that the exam board like you to use, and that's kind of the gold standard. That's how the first drafts of the mark schemes are written. So the one for AQA GCSE chemistry can be found at this address, but it's pretty easy. If you just Google specification and the subject and the exam board, you'll be able to find them. The other thing you might not know how to find is these recall questions. So basically I went through the whole of the GCSE for science and wrote questions that basically check, do you know the basic facts? So it's not about evaluation or analysis, it's just factual recall. So if you go to this address that's on the screen now, you'll find the ones for chemistry unit 1, but then you can change out the number, or you can change chemistry to say biology or physics, and find the rest of them too. So the way that this timetable actually works is that every box represents 20 minutes of a revision. So you're almost certainly not going to be able to fill the whole sheet of paper. But each time you do a little bit of revision, you just make a note of what you've done. So say if today you decided to start with the start of the GCSE and you're going to go through the specification for atomic structure and then watch a YouTube video and then make some flashcards, you just fill in those 3 20-minute boxes that it took you. And then maybe the next day you make some more flashcards, you spend 20 minutes per topic, so that's 3 more boxes. And then you go on and you use those flashcards, and then a little while later you do a bit of a revision using an online learning platform. And then what it means is that if your teacher gives you some exam questions for a completely different topic, that's fine, we're just going to fill it in down here because you've still spent 20 minutes on each one of those topics. And then what I really like about this system is that it gives you a really clear visual representation of how you've been spreading your efforts. So maybe you get to the end of January and you take stock, and at that point you're going to realise that you've revised the first unit of Chemistry Paper 1 really, really well, but you've kind of been neglecting the rest of it. So at that point you can say to yourself, right, so I'm going to stop those first few topics, I'm not going to do any more revision on those, and instead I'm going to prioritise my structure and bonding and my quantitative chemistry and make sure that I'm revising those as well. And this really helps you to make sure that you are effectively covering the entire GCSE and you don't get to the night before the exams and go, oh goodness, I still haven't done any of the chemical changes topic. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope that you found that a useful video. Don't forget the link to the timetable is in the description below, and if you did find this useful, then don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and also share the channel to help me make it grow. I'll be back soon with some more GCSE science resources.